Hello, and it's another Sunday night. I mean, just another episode of the Up Cluster. I'm Slider, your host, and with me tonight we have Brandon.
Hi, guys.
And tonight we are talking about James Cameron's film, which is considered pretty groundbreaking, Avatar. But before we jump into that, I got a little bit of nerd rage to do here. This week there was a big announcement made, and it doesn't quite sit well with me, but it is now official. JJ Abrams is taking over the helm of the Star Wars franchise. Really concerned about this. My initial reaction was really childish. I went for looking for people making positive comments, and I shit on their comments. But I actually posted something a little more rational this week, just voicing my concerns. Brandon, I don't care how you put it. He destroyed my Star Trek. Okay.
One of the points you
genocide.
made, one of the points you made about that was the fact that there was no new ideas in Star Trek and how it's supposed to be, exploration and this and that. You do realize they're working with a fixed timeline, right? Where they're limited and they've already done all of that.
Yes, and that is also part of the problem with a reboot, but I'm not going to get into that. And I'm actually trying to not be such a dick about the whole Star Trek thing right now. I'm really.
What about his other films?
Actually, we've had this discussion. I loved Cloverfield. I hated Star Trek. I hated Super 8. I hated Alias. I love Fringe. I liked Lost when it first came out until it jumped the shark and went fucking batshit crazy. Although, from my understanding, his involvement was really only in the first season. So that, kind of...
I'm concerned in general. I was concerned when Disney bought Star Wars from George Lucas. I have concerns with JJ Abrams maybe making the new trilogy a little too dark / revengeful.
And that's kind of my thing. It's like it shouldn't be a revenge story. It should be something completely new because Vader's gone. The Emperor, unless they're going to go with some of the extended universe material where the Emperor has clones that he can put himself into.
The Rancor clone, or Thrawn is another possibility. But I guess that's my concern is where are they going to take the story? Are they going to do immediately afterward? I even count immediately as 20 years.
Well, yeah, it would make sense to do 15 to 20 years into the future. Because that's what they did between the first trilogy and the second trilogy, if you put them in the right order.
But with that, then are they going to go to the point of saying the extended universe doesn't exist?
I don't know.
So it's like I do. Don't get me wrong. I have my concerns.
Yeah, and and again, you don't have a problem with this with Trek, but in my opinion, he shit on the canon. And I don't want him to shit on the canon for Star Wars. My only
George Lucas already shit all over the canon. What are you talking about?
No, George Lucas made a few small...
He brought Darth Maul back from the dead.
You're talking about in the extended universe. You're talking about in Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I'm not too concerned about that. But
that's canon. That counts as canon.
I don't see that making it into the films, personally. That's unless they plan on going way back. I don't see that really affecting the new trilogy.
Oh no, that won't affect. But you get my point. I mean, George Lucas has already done his own shitting on canon.
But what I'm trying to get at is, Abrams self-proclaimed he was not a fan of Star Trek when he took the franchise over. He does claim to be a franchise fan when it comes to Star Wars. I don't know what that means.
Maybe he'll take it more to heart and want to do very well. I don't know. Like I said, I have my concerns. I want to see where they take the story. At least just something.
Right. And in my post, I actually make a plea, and I'll make this plea now. JJ Abrams, please don't destroy my Star Wars. Please. I'm begging you. And I don't really beg a whole lot.
Although you also mentioned ruining the second film. You haven't seen the second film. It hasn't come out, damn it.
They've shown enough to show a certain. You know what? Are we going to go into spoilers here? Because
it's a preview.
Yeah, but if I say stuff, they showed something in the preview that is ruinous. It's happening in the end of the film. I already know what it is based on the small
Oh
clip that
no,
they
then
show.
I don't want to know. If I mean,
Okay.
if you know, like, if you know that amount of detail, I don't want to know because I
Yeah.
want to see the movie.
Okay. So then I'm not gonna say it, but it's a complete lack of creativity in my opinion. Um, and yeah, so it's going to be more of the same from the first film, is what it's going to be. So, all right, so we've taken enough time away from Avatar. So this was your choice, Brandon. So let's go ahead and jump right into Avatar.
All right. As Slider mentioned earlier, this was written and directed by James Cameron. It, in my opinion, well, and probably the general public as well, it was groundbreaking in terms of not necessarily the story, but I would definitely say the graphics, the 3D, the uh, concept on what went into the planet that they're on, Pandora, and some of its inhabitants. That was very well done, I thought. Sam Worthington, who was in Terminator Salvation, plays the main character, Jake Sully, and Zoe Saldana plays the other main character, Neytiri. And it's similar, as some people have pointed out, and I do agree that there are some similarities to Pocahontas. But really, if you look at it past that, it's obviously more than that. Not to mention that having someone in a place that they're unfamiliar with, in a new surrounding, that's not that unfamiliar, and have them fall in love, that's not that uncommon. That's done over and over and over.
Okay, so the Pocahontas comment is mine. I always like to make fun of Avatar, saying it's just a rehash of Pocahontas. But really, it's not just Pocahontas. That's a tired story. It's Pocahontas. It's Dances with Wolves. It's even to a certain extent The Last Samurai. Except The Last Samurai did it really, really, really freaking well.
Well, I mean, there are others. Fern Gully.
Yeah. There's tons of this type of story, and I'm not saying that the story is a bad story, but what I am saying is, for something that was groundbreaking, that was revolutionary in terms of the technology involved in bringing this film to life, it should have been a new and interesting story. A new story. The story was interesting, but they should have done something a little more creative, in my opinion. That's my biggest qualm with it.
Which aspects? Like, do you mean the love part, or because
The
way
story.
he designed the planet and the interaction with all of the creatures was phenomenal.
I have my issues with that too, and we'll get to that. And I'm not saying that it was bad. It was phenomenal is the right word. The graphics and the CGI. I mean, this movie is 60% motion capture. So we're talking 60% filmed on green screen. They were acting in a world that they've never seen until it was on screen. So kudos to the actors, kudos to the producers, the art director, the writers. I mean, this is a well executed film. I think it hits on all of the technical cylinders in terms of the way the mechanics of a story, and in the acting. The acting was actually something that I was a little impressed with. I'd never really been too impressed with Sam Worthington before. I think he did a great job in this film. But now we're talking about the story. Actually, before we even do that, I never saw the movie in 3D. That's one of the things people kind of harp on me about. I did not see this movie in 3D. I'm not a fan of 3D. This 3D was different. I understand.
Okay,
this.
I was gonna say, because I generally, like, if I go see a movie, like what was it, the Hobbit, I didn't want to see that in 3D. A lot of movies I don't want to see in 3D because it's really just the same movie that they took some little special effects afterward and implemented them to make things pop out at you.
Well,
this whole movie was filmed that way. Every single bit of it is 3D.
Yeah, my understanding of the way they did it was they did the 3D for depth, not for things jumping out at you on the screen.
Correct.
Which the idea is to make a more immersive story, to pull you into the story a little bit more.
And that's how I felt because I saw it in theaters a few times, but
Yeah.
every time I did see it, I saw in 3D. It was definitely immersive. Like I caught things that I probably wouldn't have caught otherwise.
So what's funny about that is I can't even tell you if I saw it in the theater. I don't think I did, but there's just the kind of, if I think about it logically, I must have, because I didn't notice until this week. I'd never seen the beginning of the movie. So I must have gotten to the movie late. And I specifically remember when I was buying a TV, I was like, one of the movies I wanted to put on the television was Avatar because of the colors, because of the imagery. And I did that when I bought my television, and I didn't watch the whole movie. I just kind of fast forwarded to the battle scene.
You screw up movies to yourself.
So I must have seen it in the theater, but again, I wasn't all that impressed in terms of it being this epic type story. Beautiful movie, absolutely stunning, and the story between Jake Sully and Natiri, not Nitiri, is that basically, it's again an age-old story. He's kind of the newcomer to this newfound world, and she's the emissary, or the unwilling emissary in this case. And through the course of him learning their ways, they fall in love. Okay, yeah, but end of story. Big deal. But the things that he goes through, it's kind of like a coming of age story for him. He ends up finding himself in a way, which is a very interesting take on it. But I'm sorry, there's just some of this stuff when you watch this movie, like they use their junk for everything. Okay, they mate with it. They make bonds with horses, with the banshees, with the trees. I mean, come on, that's just weird.
Well, now see, I don't know if they necessarily mate with it. I do know they make a bond with it.
They specifically stated in the film when they made the bond and they were kissing and holding each other. After he goes back to the village, the next leader of the village says, "You mated with this woman?" They specifically pointed it out.
Oh yes, I'm not saying that they didn't mate. I just don't know if those are you. I'm guessing they have to have some parts. Otherwise, why do they have it covered down there?
Well, yeah, but when you look at them sitting in the tank at the beginning of the movie, they're as smooth as Kindle. I mean, maybe the avatars are not anatomically correct. I don't know, but it seemed like that little aspect of it. It's like that one appendage. It's a cool idea, but God, they should have saved something a little different for the bonding between him and her, because that just weirded me out a little bit. And it also didn't make any sense to me that when they were trying to save Sigourney Weaver's character when she was injured and trying to put her life essence into the body of her avatar, that's the one time nothing connects to the stupid ponytail thing. It connects all over their body, but not to the ponytail. And that just didn't make any sense to me.
Well, I'm sure they're going to get to it in the second film because Sigourney Weaver is in the second film.
Well, she's with I can't think of the entity's name.
Away or something like. I know what you. Awa.
Yeah, I want to say Gaia, but it was Awa.
Yeah, Gaia is the wrong word.
Yeah, so yeah, and all that part is interesting, and there's definitely more that they can expand upon. This film has content, it has depth. It's not a shallow film by any stretch of the imagination. But there was just a few things that didn't make sense, and there were certain continuity issues as well. This week when I was watching it, I watched the extended version, and there were some simple little things that were just a little irritating. One of them that was pointed out in a video that I posted on all the problems with Avatar in under 3 minutes or less was like they show him watching television. This is like a wall-sized television, and he's like 3 inches from the screen. That just didn't make a whole lot of sense. A lot of the way they introduce the characters, when you introduce Sigourney Weaver's character, she's coming out of her avatar, right? But at that time, they were not allowed into the village because of what happened previously. So what the hell was she doing? Just hanging out? I mean,
Yeah, well, she hangs out with the other people who are assigned, that have their own avatars.
well, but they don't just sit around playing cards. Those people were training, you know. And it makes sense to me.
They played basketball.
Yeah, that's calisthenics.
Well,
that's
yes,
training.
I know that, but I'm just saying maybe she was playing basketball.
But she wasn't, because they showed that girl playing basketball. And who the hell were these other avatars that we never ever saw again? You know, playing basketball and gardening and doing all this. What do they do? What was their job? Because we never hear or see from them again. No one ever interacts with them. So the only ones we see is our little group of avatars. Are they going to the other clans? I mean, what is the avatar program really doing? You know, and then the guy that played the bad guy, Stephen Lang, I think he did a really good job, but the character was really cliched. You know, I mean, it was just like the moment they showed him on the screen, oh, yep, there's the bad guy, you know. And then his character, the way he acted his character, I believe he acted his character exactly the way it was supposed to be acted, and it was just really over the top. Really, it was like, you know, he was all but wearing a sign on his back that says, I'm the evil guy.
You know what he reminds me of, honestly? He reminds me, even look-wise, of Sarge from Quake 3.
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised.
I was like, there's Sarge.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they were going for. You know, but
I mean, did you know that? I mean, even some of the things that were in Avatar, James Cameron didn't implement even in the writing until some of the concept artists drew it out for him and gave him rendered models.
For example,
I think one of them was the mech suit.
You mean the one they ripped off straight out of Aliens?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, that was kind of another issue. There were a lot of parallels here with the Alien storyline. And having Sigourney Weaver in it.
Maybe the chick from what is it, Prometheus will find Pandora.
Yeah, right. No, that'll be pretty interesting. Like a big mashup, and then there'll be predators.
but I mean, and anyway, I mean, I don't know. What did you think of Giovanni Ribisi?
Oh, he's a massive prick, which means he did a really good job. But again, you know, he was the corporate guy, the corporate bad guy, you know, which was very similar to the corporate bad guy in Alien, played by Paul from Mad About You. I can't think of his last name.
I think he did a pretty good job of being a bad guy. Very nice, Dante. It was one of the first times that I've seen him not retarded as a character. Like, I mean, honestly, I saw him in Friends as Phoebe's brother. I've seen him in a couple other movies where he wasn't. I don't mean like literally retarded. I just mean, you know, not that bright of a person.
Right. No, he did a good job, and I actually liked him. I've liked him in a lot of the stuff that he's done, even when he is kind of a dumbass. You know, but the issue I have with the way they set up the characters is, and even in some respect, the scenes, they remind me a lot of Alien. And then you have Sigourney Weaver in it, and that could have a lot to do with it, just from a psychological standpoint, you know, because it's a similar type of character, you know, having the same conflict with the corporate leader. So that was part of it that I didn't quite like.
I think she's going to have a huge role in the second movie.
Which ought to be interesting, because she doesn't have a body.
Maybe she'll get one. Maybe they'll just hook up one of the Avatar bodies to Awa and she'll just go into, I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they handle that. Because my impression of what happened to her was those two bodies died. You know?
Yes.
Because they showed the light go away from both of them. So it'll definitely be interesting. It'd be funny if they turned into like an AI, like in Halo. But you know, another character that I liked, and you know, this is both a positive and a negative for me, was Michelle Rodriguez. You know,
yeah,
I like her character.
I do like her character, but I was kind of upset with that it's the same character that she always plays.
Exactly. I'd really like to see Michelle Rodriguez step out of her comfort zone. I think she's capable of it, but she's kind of typecast as the tomboy tough chick. And I love it. I mean, I think she's gorgeous, and sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, but it just doesn't need to be that all the time. I'd really like to see her do something else.
Well,
Again,
you can go see her in Fast and the Furious 6.
yeah, about that. Sigourney Weaver's character was awesome, in my opinion. I sort of expected a little bit of a backstory to develop with her, which they never quite got to. They gave you the little tidbit of the school incident where the kids attacked the company. The company chased the kids back to the school and killed Nititi's sister. But that was her motivation and her pain in terms of dealing with the Avatar program. They don't give you any background on why her and Sam kind of clicked the way they do. I call him Sam. Jake.
I kind of got the way they clicked because she was more interested in strictly the science. And as soon as he got into their the tree and was learning all of this stuff, he was providing this information, and they found that they were both obviously she was, but he found that he was genuinely interested, and that made him like her like him more.
It just seems like there's something more to it. I almost halfway expected them to make some like weird announcement that she was once married to a Marine or something, because she hated him at first.
Well, yeah, because she was upset because they lost his brother, and he was a scientist,
right.
An actual and she didn't get that. She got a blockhead.
But that's not Jake's fault. I mean,
no, but I could see her point though. It's like the guy studies for 8 years to do this thing.
3.
Jake just has this whatever same same DNA. He goes and she's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, but what else are they supposed to do? Grow an entirely new avatar and train someone else and push the program back? I mean, 3 years of training, 6 years to get to Pandora. Was she willing to wait all that time? Or you work with what you got?
I can see both sides.
I understand her position. I just don't particularly agree with it. And it makes me it makes the transition of her caring about him a little forced, in my opinion. I would have liked to have seen something happen that would have been a little more expoundatory on what changes her, what makes her come around. Is it the effect of being back in the village and being exposed to the people again? What was it that made this shift in their paradigm? That was what I was looking for. But I personally never got that.
What do you feel about Netiri? if anything, I didn't find anything in particular about her character that really just sticks out in my head, other than the fact that she ridiculed him at first, saying that he was like a baby.
Actually, the baby line kind of tickled me a little bit. She's like, "You're like a baby," But I understood what she was doing, and I thought that was well executed because basically these people don't speak using the same type of linguistics that we do. So she was approximating the best way she could, and I think it worked out just fine. But the character herself, and again, this goes back to this being kind of a tired story. Why does she have to be the daughter of the spiritual leader? Why does she have to be betrothed to the future leader of the clan? All those things are just kind of hokey, in my opinion, and unnecessary. It would have been nice if she was just kind of an ordinary Navi and kind of falls in love with him, and together they stand up against the leadership or whatever. But
I don't know if they go into it with the second movie. I don't think that her role or her father's or her mother's is going to have any extreme significance, because if there's so many other clans out there, they're just going to be like, oh, you know, whatever.
Yeah. But I would like to see that evolution. I get the feeling, and this is just kind of, I have no basis in fact for this. I haven't seen anything, but I sort of think they're going to introduce a child, and the child's going to play some sort of role, and he's going to be, you know, both loved and hated because he's a child of an Navi and an Avatar, blah blah blah. That's just kind of my conception.
Can he, as an Avatar, actually do that?
I don't know. You know.
But I don't know. My point about her was I feel that there was nothing major for the character outside of just she was the one who found him. I don't know. There was nothing very.
Well, she found him and she trained him. You know, she basically gave him the tools to become who he became.
I agree. I don't know. Maybe it's just her. I don't know. I like Sigourney Weaver's character. I like Sam Worthington's character. I like all of these different characters, and each being very different. She just didn't have any oomph for me.
Yeah, and she also was, in my opinion, a little whiny. And I understand the point that they were driving home with it, but when in the scene where they're clear-cutting the forest and they start destroying the Tree of Souls, you know, her reaction to it is extreme sadness. And everything with that character was kind of extreme. There was no halfway. There was no, you know, little bit of anger. It was either she was really happy about it or really upset about it.
Or she was going to kill you.
Yeah, there was no middle ground.
I did like the how aggressive she was. That I think that was probably the most predominant thing about her that I like.
Yeah, I had no problems with the character, but yeah, she wasn't an exceptional standout character either.
And with the sequels, I hope that she does stand out more.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we've about covered this one. Do you have any final thoughts on this?
No, I do not. I'm laughing at Dante's comment.
Yeah, I saw that too. All right, so we're going to go ahead and bring this one to a close and get Dante over here to the next movie. And we have Dante.
Let's see if I'll drop it again. No. Disappointing.
Yeah, I was going to say.
All right, so we have N42.
I'm going to say it's Dante's. Taking a wild guess.
Nope.
No.
I don't know that Dante has that many left. How many of your movies have we discussed?
Like 2.
No.
There's 2 left. Something like that.
Oh, there's only 2 left. Okay, so nope, this is my movie. And this is an interesting one because it's the first time we deal with this type of film.
Ooh.
The Grudge. We haven't done any horror films. And The Grudge, to me, was just a really, really creepy movie. There's a story I constantly tell about seeing that movie, but I'll leave that for next the next
yes,
show.
And I have one of my own.
So, you know, Avatar, I like it, I hate it. You know, it's got its good, it's got its bad.
If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it.
Definitely worth a watch. When the sequel comes out, I'm gonna definitely go see it. I don't know if I'll see it in 3D, but
I probably will. It's one of the few movies that I like seeing in 3D.
Or maybe I'll have to go to somebody's house with a 3D TV or something. But so that's it. Next week we're talking about The Grudge, and we'll. It's actually got one of my favorite character actresses, which is Sarah Michelle Gellar. As everyone knows, I am a ridiculous Buffy fanboy, so I'm going to be looking forward to that.
And speaking of which, you reminded me of Buffy, which reminded me of Leah, who had a few Buffy tapes at her house. But I also got from her place, I got the Princess Bride, the movie, and the book.
Oh, wow, really?
Yep.
Yeah, I've been. I want to pick that up. I want to reread that. Well, at any rate, on behalf of Brandon, Slider, Dante, and the cat that's making noise over there. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Or if you want to follow along with our antics when we're not in front of the camera, you can check us out on our social media pages on Facebook, Google+, or Twitter by searching for the M Cluster. Or you can leave comments in the field below. Or you can send us an email or give us a call. Heck, you can even write us a letter. Or you can buy us dinner. Or you could buy us a car. That would be awesome. Or you could send us on vacation. Or get us an Emmy. Ooh, a Tony. If you could get us a Tony, that would